Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about mail delivery. Yes, mail delivery. And you might ask why we're talking about this. Because I came across this book in the library the other day and it answered most of my questions about my living spaces, including where my electricity and water bill dollars go. So if you have any questions about your living spaces, then check this book out in the description box below. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with the world's largest mail delivery system, the USPS. Over the years, the USPS has delivered mail via stagecoach, roller skate, motorcycle, skis, Segway, toboggan, dog sled, biplane, supersonic jet, snowmobile, and hovercraft. Pneumatic tubes once delivered 6 million letters a day, including half of New York City's mail. Mules are still used to deliver mail the 8 miles to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. It's hard to beat the reliability of the USPS. Harry Winston had such faith in the system that when he donated the 350 million Hope Diamond to the Smithsonian in 1958, he shipped it by registered mail in a plain brown envelope stamped Fragile from New York City to Washington, D.C. The cost was $145.29 for postage, which was only $2.44 of that amount and $1 million in insurance. In 1913, Mr. and Mrs. Beagles of Glen Estate, Ohio, mailed something even more precious, their 11-pound grandson, to a relative who lived a mile away. Postage was 15 cents. To prove they were doting grandparents, they insured him for $50. In June 1920, the Los Angeles Times carried this tidbit. Children may not be transported as parcel post. First Assistant Postmaster General Coons ruled yesterday. Mr. Coons said, "Children clearly did not come within the classification of harmless live animals which do not require food or water while in transit." The USPS uses 600,000 workers, 31,324 post offices, and a fleet of 232,372 vehicles to deliver 150 billion pieces of mail a year. That's 47% of the world's mail. At 55 cents per letter in early 2020, the US has neither the cheapest nor the most expensive postal service. To mail one of my Happy New Year cards in Norway would have cost $1.78. In Bangladesh, less than a dime. Post offices can be found at the base of Mount Everest, on the Antarctica Peninsula, and 9 feet underwater in the Republic of Vanuatu, where snorkeling tourists can mail special waterproof postcards. The streamlined system for delivering my Happy New Year cards was developed over 2 centuries. In How the Post Office Created America, author Winifred Gallagher posits, "The history of its post office is nothing less than the story of America. In the beginning, the states of the United States were anything but united. The Puritans of Massachusetts, the Dutch of New York, and the elitist plantation owners of the South had banded together to throw off the shackles of British rule, but with that done, they found themselves a collection of disparate colonies. Add to this a flood of pioneers heading west and a system of roads that consisted of little more than rutted trails, and you had a country that was very loosely stitched. What was the needle that could sew them together? The post office. The mission of the newly formed Postal Service was to encourage an open forum for the exchange of ideas, provide an affordable way to send newspapers and books to promote literacy, and cast a lifeline to pioneers heading into the wilderness. By 1809, the United States had 2,300 post offices, which quickly began gathering places and hubs of the community. There were hiccups. People who were enslaved were prohibited from working in the postal system, lest while working they run across documents proclaiming all men are created equal. Instituted in the 1860s, home delivery required city names to be formalized, streets to be named, houses to be numbered. An address created a tangible identity that many, up until then, had lacked. The railway mail service, where mail was sorted while trains were en route across country, dramatically shortened delivery times. Railway clerks were expected to have photographic memories, to heft 200-pound mail bags, and to be able to sort mail into pigeonholes for hours while standing in a rocking train car. Different levels of service, first, second, and third class, were instituted. Charles Lindbergh was one of the first air mail service pilots. Zone improvement plan codes were established during the 1960s. The first of the 5 numbers indicates an area, and as you go east to west, that number gets larger. The second 2 numbers indicate a region within that area, and the final 2 numbers identify a specific post office. The +4 numbers narrowed the delivery point even further. In 2000, 103 billion pieces of highly profitable, highly mechanized first-class mail were delivered. What could go wrong? Well, the internet came along. One consequence of the 2001 anthrax attacks was that people who had previously been wary of email converted to using that technology. The internet also changed the way people paid bills, banked, shopped, and made reservations, researched, and sent Happy New Year greetings. The personal emotionally charged act of handwriting a letter was replaced by the slapdash posting of an emoji. The volume of first-class mail, once the largest profit maker for the USPS, started dropping at a rate of 3% a year, cumulatively resulting in a 47% decrease in volume by 2020. Today, this drop in volume has been partially offset by the 10% annual increase in the shipping and packages business, the Amazon effect. Still, the service loses around $3 billion a year. Today, the USPS is an independent agency regulated by the US government, but it receives exactly $0 in funding, a sort of twilight zone for any business. On the package delivery front, the USPS is being challenged by FedEx, UPS, Amazon, drone deliveries, and self-driving delivery trucks. While mail volume is decreasing, the number of addresses is increasing by about 4,000 delivery points a day. And while the USPS does have a legal monopoly on delivering standard and first-class mail, it's hampered by its mandate to deliver mail at a minimum level, which is 5 or 6 days per week, at a uniform price. This is profitable in large cities, but a money-losing proposition in Hooper Bay, Alaska, where mail must be flown in by bush plane. Yet, in an era when we've become accustomed to instant electronic communication, receiving an honest-to-God letter, thank you note, or Happy New Year card is a simple pleasure that will persist through rain, sleet, and snow.